Today, we heard members of the public who had criticisms about us not going far enough, and we heard members of the public who are saying, we're really worried about the current state. And that's not surprising. We knew that would happen. But when you have these conflicting perspectives, it makes it hard to try to properly address these various challenges. I think generally what I heard is an alignment around sort of the common themes and goals overall. But I'm hearing some concerns around what do we do in the immediate term for some of these businesses in the downtown that are dealing with real serious safety issues. There's also some real concerns from folks who have been impacted by city policing, who have had think back to the public hearing we had last term, who still want to see meaningful action there. And so while I think there's general agreement from this broad strategy approach, we have a lot of work to do around the specific actions going forward now.
We're seeing a really high volume of serious incidents. You heard from some speakers today in council chambers, business owners who are really concerned for their staff. There weren't as many residents as I expected to hear from, but I know that's a group that's really concerned. And so we've got to figure out how in the short term we can get to frankly a service level where we feel like we're not totally on our own downtown and dealing with really serious incidents of verbal and physical abuse, thefts, vandalism, like all of it. It's all a bit too much right now. Response times from law enforcement, whether it's peace officers or EPS, way too slow downtown. And there's not enough of a visible human scale presence where people feel like they're not on their own. So we don't see many officers. And especially early morning hours, there's a lot of incidents right now with especially young women going to the gym in the morning. That's often when we hear a lot of really alarming incidents. There's just no presence. And so we think there's a huge potential in something like the COT model, the Community Outreach Transit Teams, where it's a law enforcement peace officer paired with an outreach worker. That's the ideal model, but that's only in transit right now. And so having that visible presence of law enforcement and outreach is really what we need across downtown. And then the second is a space for people to be when they're in crisis and when they're really causing harm to themselves and to others. So we have no daytime shelters really in Edmonton. We don't have a drop-in center like Calgary's drop-in center. Our emergency rooms are way over capacity, as you heard from one doctor today. So frankly, what's happening is if someone is in crisis, they maybe are brandishing something as a weapon, they're clearly not okay and clearly causing harm, they get picked up and then they're released sometimes hours later. And we hear this again and again and again. You know, EPS does say that they don't have the resources to increase foot patrols to the level that the community wants to see them, that our business owners want to see them. City Council says that they do have enough resources, and really downtown and our community is feeling like a political football in the middle of that, and it's really exhausting. I don't personally know the answer, but I know what we need, and so I'm hoping that between this meeting and that upcoming police budget meeting that we might get some answers.
I think the anti-racism committee is completely correct. I think, it should be separate. I think it should be the overarching theme, and it should inform the work that we're actually doing to make sure that we're building a city that's safe for everyone, including that's anti-racist, and that people can feel comfortable going out to. We need to look at community-based programs like HOTS, seeing how we can expand it to transit, seeing how we can get them onto the streets. Because I agree. No one should feel unsafe in their downtown core. But at the same time, too, we also need to recognize that some members of the community have had harmful interactions with EPS, and they don't feel safe interacting with them. The answer is taking, and this is a long-term answer, seeing how we can actually create true community safety, not with police, but with community, so people are acting in a good, lawful manner, even when police are not around.